Oh, hello. Welcome back. 1st November, British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice's office. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I've supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zyk's doing here? There seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. Oh crap. Run! My apologies, I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress made you all but invisible to me. Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe, whenever you come here. Now then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, my lord. I'm right here. A lot of dots. Kill me now. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you. Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. The room temperature room. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madam. Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honoured to have been invited. I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting room in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zykes. I will attend at once. Oh, hello. What was that look for? He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he? I know, but I haven't done anything. Have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, hold on, you what? So, my dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Okay. Is your left hand still of service? That's not what he means. But who? So are we on about Scythe? Or is it someone else? Mr. Naruhodo, he's talking about Dr. Scythe. Okay. But I say okay as in the sense of like that's where it's going. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe. Of course. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just Fear not. You've done nothing wrong. Dr. Scythe's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That would be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zykes is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Huh. I like they even got that phrase right. There's a few things here and there that are very sort of British idioms or the way we say the language wrongly. Like English is a mess in itself, but they're getting certain things of like how we say the language wrongly. Like it was put down in the comments, like there was an "and I" situation. from Lord Van Zykes. It's like, that is something we do say over here sometimes. And it's wrong. It should be "and me." Like, yeah. That happens. It's wrong, but that's how this language operates because it's nonsense. But in this instance, just that little phrase, because in America, they say holding down the fort more than holding the fort. There's a bit of a mix here and there either side of the pond, but it's very much more over here we say holding the fort as opposed to holding down the fort. So the fact they've got that little bit, it's like, it's very good on the localization to get little consistencies. Like, normally you notice little inconsistencies. These are little consistencies with how English works. It's interesting. I thought it worth pointing out, at least. Well done, localizers. Well done. Anyway, though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Oh, missing? What's become of Kazuma-sama now? Well, I guess we'll have a word of him then. At the Forensic Science Symposium. Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world? How many people? Hold on. How many people? Because we want to know this. Well, we want to see how. It's probably going to tell me anyway. But, how many people in the world? So, what was it? 1880s. It's roughly right. That's telling me 2,000. That's not right. I don't want to know now. About 1.4 billion, it says. Around 1880s. I can't remember when this is set. It's the 1800s at least, because it's the Victorian era, so. But anyway. As a comparison, Mr. Naruhodo, the population of the imperial capital of Tokyo is 2 million. I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. Sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of the forensic investigation techniques. Because yeah, it's before the 1900s, which is the 20th century for those who, for some reason, don't know. And cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here at the heart of our great British Empire, in order that Scotland Yard could become the leading investigative organization in the New World. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something. You're every bit as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know about that. I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. Uh-oh. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Sive at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department. Oh, the FID. And can you not do that now? Not without backlash, obviously. Nobody wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancement in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial. We simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though. Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Yeah, It's like justice had to be done. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. The missing apprentice. My question is like, what if something does stand in your way? There's just there's certain wordings on what he's saying that just make me kinda want to keep an eye on him. I think that's the best way of putting it. The missing apprentice, anyway. About Lord Van Zyke's apprentice. Ah, yes. That came as a surprise to me, I must say, that you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zyke's in the first place? Came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel. Oh my. So he stowed away to get here? He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zyke's. That way I could keep an eye on him. That seems a bit strange to do, doesn't it? Like this random person you then put under the tutelage of your chief prosecutor? The best prosecutor in the land? That seems very odd to do. Even for Ace Attorney, that seems very odd to do. Which just, again, leads to me thinking there's more to it, isn't there? But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zyke's with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern appearance. Because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask. He is proving to be a great help to Lord Van Zyke's. I have high hopes for his future. By the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being. Oh. I take it you also didn't know that the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean. Genshin Impasogi. Because of my father's crimes. What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was... Ah yes, Genshin Impasogi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain. There were such awful murders, and unprecedented, using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon. Doesn't seem like something his father would do based on who he is as a character, the idea of the sword and all that type of stuff. It just, why would he not use a sword? Why the dog? Again, it's all coming down to that case of there's still so much more we haven't been told. There's still pieces that need to fall into place that connect loads of dots. Like, clearly, Strongheart is going to be connected in some way. It's not, like, every character is going to be connected to this in some way. Like, I expect even Gina is connected to it in some way. Iris clearly will. Josiah Brett, like, we know something was going on with her, so she's got to be connected. Like, just all bits and pieces here and there. So why a dog? That leads me to believe that Genshin wasn't the one who did it. Someone else did. Because it doesn't fit with his family lineage. It doesn't tie up correctly. So anyway. And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London. Everyone outside London does, but specifically London, they don't know. That's why we don't allow visitors inside London these days. The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand. Correct. However, it has to be noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? Supporters of a mass murderer? The majority of the man's victims were a blight on the aristocracy of the day. Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Huh. Okay. So if they're... I got my gears, because there's gears everywhere. Got my gears turning here. And what it's feeling like to me right now is Strongheart is involved in the idea of he's potentially... The thing I think that's less likely is I don't think he's the killer. I don't think it's Genshin because, again, it doesn't fit with his family history, the idea of using the dog. That feels wrong. But the idea of their deaths benefiting society, that kind of feels in line with what Strongheart's been talking about, the idea of benefiting the Empire, improving society. That's what his aim has been. It's like it kind of ties up with what he's after. So I feel he's potentially connected in a way of like assigning the targets. He's... Because he has been getting Van Zykes as a prosecutor to take down certain aspects of society, like the criminal underworld that's present. He's been after them via Van Zykes. Maybe he had different methods in the past? There's something there. Again, just waiting for pieces to fall into place and it all lines up and all makes sense, but I feel like there's enough there to get that impression, that idea. What we can do with that, I don't know, but alright. Or so a fair few thinkers in London believe, anyway. Yeah, and you're one of them, aren't you? Or maybe it could be a case of the people dying made him realize he could go after certain people and it would benefit society, which is now what he's doing via Van Zykes in court. Although then what's the Reaper curse? How does that come into it? Maybe he's the Reaper. Maybe he's the one who's been like, okay, they got away from you in court. We'll try doing the court system. Uphold the legal system. If it doesn't work, I'm going to take them out. Right, I see. But it was still murder, wasn't it? It seems very similar, doesn't it? The idea of the Reaper at the Bailey. Thank you, Suzuto. This is something I like, especially about Great Ace Attorney. Like, they dangle like all these things in front of you, get your brain thinking in that kind of way, and then they sort of confirm your thinking. Not going beyond it or confirming theories you may have, but where your initial thoughts are. Like, I was thinking very much the idea of the Reaper, and it goes like, there you are, yep. I like this. It's setting stuff up nicely. It's a good narrative. Anyway. Oh! Seems very similar, doesn't it, to the idea of the Reaper of the Bailey, Chikajaya, and nothing from Strongheart? Huh. I had to look around the room then in sort of like a almost disbelief, where it's like, what? Huh? We've got nothing to present him. I always feel a little nervous here. I should love to ask if I could borrow some books, but I just can't. Let's try going back to the hotel then. Nothing there, okay. Let's go back to the consultant site. Oh, we can only go to Shlom's suite then. Anything here? Huh. So what else have we got? Is there anything new around? I'm looking for anything new that's significant. What else can we do? Is there anything else up here? No. Right, let's see what she says on here. I know it's only an old attic, but I find this place more relaxing than anywhere else. We're sure we've asked everything we need to, Mr. Naruhodo. That implies there's more here. But there's nothing else here. Like, can we present these people? Like, throw Strongheart at him? This doesn't seem right. Well, there's got to be something around then that... Yeah, there you go. This looks like last week's edition. What's the article circled in red ink there? It's an advertisement column. It says... To the Red-Headed League. I love all these references to, like, Sherlock Holmes story. I had to remember to say it correctly. But yeah, the Sherlock Holmes stories, like Red-Headed League, like we had. Even the, that Bohemian Prince, was it Prince? In this story? The one wearing the mask? Even that was a reference. Just little things here and there. It's just, interesting. To the Red-Headed League. The Red-Headed League? What's that? I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but... It's something on my face. Clearly this has something to do with that, lively hair. The Red-Headed League article has been entered into the court record. Right, is there anything else though? Like me? Oh, no. I was gonna say, I'm trying to look for stuff that was new. It's like, I thought maybe that was new, but... It's just, how I was starting here was like, hold on a minute, that's not normally there. Because I've already inspected the mask. Was that always there? It's nothing important anyway. If I remember correctly, this large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter. Oh, no, I wanted the dog. To think that every single one of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes blossom from this very machine. It's such a dreamy thought. I actually had a go on it the other day. The metal bars that move when you hit the keys get all tangled up somehow. That made Iris angry. Mr. Naruhodo, you're ruining my dreamy thoughts. Please don't do that again. I've made Suzuto sound angry as well. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Right. No? Okay, let's try presenting that to you, and then we'll head over to Strongheart and present that to him. Looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. You know, we should see it. We should have a look at it first. Okay, the Red-Headed League. On account of the bequest of the late Ezekiah Hopkins? Ezekiah? Of Lebanon, PA, USA. This is now there is now another vacancy open in which titles a member of the league to a salary of £4 a week of purely nominal services. Okay, right. We need to check here. £4. Right, £4 Victorian. £4 Victorian area, yeah. Inflation? I suppose? So, value of 1850. So, okay, so... God, there's a lot of graphs. I have no idea. Seems to be... £1 in 1850. So we got £4. So it's about 700 quid a week. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Based on that anyway. So yeah, about 700 quid a week. And those who don't know what quid is, that means pound. It's slang. Quid pro quo. Comes from that. It's Latin. All red-headed men who are sound in body and mind and above the age of 21 years are eligible. Fly in person on the morning of the 31st at the large park on Lime Street, so that's why his hair's red. Get £4 per week if you are red-headed. A most fantastic money-making opportunity. What else have we got around here? Public health report. Despite the condition of the City of London itself of late, it has been a positive year so far in public health. There have been fewer cases of consumption reported when compared to this time last year, and smallpox is at an all-time low. Thanks to the vaccinations offered at the smallpox and fever hospitals throughout the various parts of London. Doctors, however, warn that there appears to be the beginning of yet another cholera epidemic on the horizon. Although the cause of such outbreaks remains unclear, the public is strongly advised to drink only water which has previously been boiled. So what's this? Retrospective, I think, on the right? Truly more than any... It gets too dark from there. Any other nation? Britain has been successful in its endeavours, thanks in part to the generosity of many investors and its long illustrious tradition of fostering inquiries into the sciences. Lest it be forgotten that it is a nation that gave to the world the genius of Sir Isaac Newton. It goes on, no, blah, blah, blah. Don't think we can get enough from the other places. Physician Jon Snow. Oh no, they do mention Jon Snow. Oh, not that Jon, not Game of Thrones. It's like St. Bartholomew's Hospital. I want to read this because, I know about Jon Snow. I can talk about that. The latest research findings and leading hypothesis this month from the Teaching Hospital of London. Evidence in support of what physician Jon Snow had concluded many years prior is the strong correlation between contaminated water and the prevalence of certain diseases. In fact, the latest news to arrive from the continent is consistent with our research in the so-called germ theory, by which minuscule microorganisms are actually causes of a great many ill something. The medical community has already begun in earnest to identify find and categorize these tiny creatures as microscopes. Also continue to improve through the dedicated work of something. We expect that in the coming years, improved instrumentation will allow us to see the germs with further clarity and greater detail as never before. Because Jon Snow, there's actually a water pump down in London that's basically dedicated to Jon Snow. It's like what he figured out is like people that were having water from a certain water pump were getting ill from certain diseases. He figured out that the water is contaminated with something. Something is in that water specifically. If people got water from a different water pump, they were fine. And he started to just check around London, just check different places to see if there was this pattern. And it started to push us towards the understanding of germ theory, which we know to be correct now, which is why Jon Snow was such an important person back then. Just interesting to see that there. Anyway, we're in the middle of that, weren't we? Looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Shlomes. To the Red-Headed League. Does that strike you in some way? I was thinking that just maybe might be related to your bright red hair. So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Mr. Naruhodo. Sorry? In the first instance, and quite indispensable observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. No, we get the idea, it's for the money. Regale or boast. Here it is, that's what we're after. So what is this red-headed league, which seems to be the subject of the advertisement you circled? You noticed it in the paper then. That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment. It was? How? According to the advertisement, the Red-Headed League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. In fact, the only condition to becoming a member is having red hair. That doesn't entirely surprise me. But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. Where's that money coming from anyway? Oh my, £4 a week? But why? What are they paying people for? That I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement. But surely every red-headed person in the country would be flocking to join in that case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once. So will I. Just on the off chance. That might be stretching a point, I think. The trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see. Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can. There is actually a club like that. But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away. It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Shlomes. What happens if, like, there's a member who gets too old and their hair goes grey or white? What happens then? Do they have to leave? So, you decided to try to join in his place? Correct! I mean, look at me. Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow? No. So why did it have to go so wrong? What on earth happened? A blunder, Mr. Naruhodo, though it pains me to admit. Alright, what's your blunder? What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Shlomes? I'm glad you asked, Miss Suzuto. What you see atop my head is neither dyed nor a hairpiece. I changed the color of my hair overnight by the wonders of chemistry. Chemistry? I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that, when taken, turns one's hair a flame-like red. Would you like to try it? It'll make every hair on your body perfectly crimson. Every. I think I'll pass. But, Mr. Shlomes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it? Amateurs are always hampered by such fears. Oh, I should have never doubted you, Mr. Shlomes. You mean to say? But of course. To earn £4 a week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger. That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely. So anyway, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on Lime Street where the Red-Headed League were interviewing prospective new members. So, what went wrong? The whole park was chock with red-headed folk, like a coaster's orange barrow. Costa's Orange Baron. Costa's? Oh. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Ah, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?" Yeah, so they know you've not really got red hair, so... So naturally, I had no choice but to reply, "Shush, don't give me away." After which I could do little else but turn and leave. And this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair into the police. Oh dear, what a disaster. For Hurley and those 2 redheads. Oh dear. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Aha! Here is my guest now, my latest client, with money to spend. Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley. Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating, save locating a runway, of course. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will you? Oh dear, I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before the rent is due. Thwack! Hello? Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, please, oh please. Please find my husband, he's run away. To upset me. I beg your pardon? Never mind, a personal matter, my apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Mr. Naruhodo? I didn't say a word. Come, my dear madam, be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please. Of course. What's the matter, Miss Suzuto? Oh, it's just the gentlewoman. Feel sure I've seen her somewhere before. Very recently. Yeah, Jura. Yes, now you come to mention it. Evie? Alright. As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil. Okay. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure. Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madam. You what? Being offered a case to solve is a reward enough. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you are the picture of benevolence. I will, of course, make a mental note of your offer, however, for contingent reasons. I trust you will remember your words also. If I might inquire, sir. This gentleman and lady would be... Oh, me? But what I am about to tell you, I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand? Ah, these are my friends. I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me. Ah, I see. I can vouch for the gentleman personally. After all, he's hard of hearing. Why did I ever get my hopes up? Well, we'll use this as a place to end this part, and in the next part we'll have a word with Evie Vigil here. Ta-da for now.